That's a story that's really not okay.
You just don't want it in the radio.
Yes, that is exactly it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday, July the 28th, 2025, and we'll call to order our budget workshop and special session, discussion regarding fiscal year end 2026 budget. No, okay, all right. I'm sorry, I missed that. Okay, let's back up here. We'll go to workshop session, call to order our workshop session. And first order discussion regarding Lampasas County Chamber of Commerce and Business Center for year 2025-26 budget. And Melissa?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for seeing me this evening. There has been some discussion as I presented this budget. We normally do this in July. I think last year we did August. But with the city budget that is currently being discussed, I'm not sure where we stand in approving the budget this evening. So you do have it in your packet and you can ask me any questions per review.
Right, so we're not looking to formally approve the Chamber's budget this evening for Visitor Center and Tourism, but we will include this with the budget that is formally adopted later this summer.
So if there are any questions based on what I've submitted, I'll be happy to take those at this time.
All right.
I would like to make note to council, and Melissa had actually brought the printout that was included in the front of your budget binders for the Texas two-step for hotel occupancy tax. And given some of our discussion earlier this evening, if some of those monies are freed up in hot funding, I do think it would be appropriate for council to explore additional marketing funding for tourism and the visitor center. Right now, her marketing budget is largely limited to her brochures and her website and a little bit of event-specific funding. But there's not much funding available for the general marketing budget for the chamber. So there is potential to help grow that marketing budget to expand Lampasas' tourism outreach with some of those monies.
So that would be appropriate for the use of hot funds to have a more overall plan for the chamber in use of hot funds and marketing of the
Correct.
That
Yes.
would be great. Excellent.
You have an amount in mind?
Depending on where the money is freed up, as opposed to what I traditionally what I've done for print marketing and advertising outside of just the general brochures. So that's event marketing, advertising, and tourism to bring people to Lampasas. It's usually been in the $5,000 range, but that was quite some time ago and things have gone up. I would look at more digital packaging to do all of that advertising, and then a few of the magazine print ads to talk about. I would like to bundle it, so I don't know what those costs are at this point in time, but I've been assured that if that's the direction that we want to head, then I can free up that money in some other areas, and I can also work with the city in regards to the city budget as to maybe that coming from not other departments, that's not the right way to put it, but other hot funding requests.
So currently there's $60,000 allocated in hot funding for organizational requests, but in accordance with our conversation earlier, it's possible that some of those funds may be available to transition to true marketing, which is the intent of those tourism dollars, rather than how they have traditionally been spent.
How much do you have set aside for budgeting and for marketing right now?
I had anywhere, like last year it was like $5,250. This year I brought it down because we did do that print piece that I got 5,000 of, and it's gone to all the different travel centers around Texas, and so we've quantified it that way. So I did bring it down because I didn't think we were gonna need it. But in my conversations with Aaron, and I think the direction that we need to be heading in is to increase our reach and then also do some more organic marketing through travel writers and different options than what we've currently been doing.
Gotcha.
So it would be more of a wider range of longer term marketing plan.
Yes, and like I said, I mean, in the past, I've gone to the different chambers and visitor centers, but these actually, this year, I've expanded the reach even to the travel centers, which are on the outskirts of, in between here in Louisiana, here in Oklahoma, the South. So we did 12 different travel information centers, like the rest stops that you'll see on tour on your trips. And so we don't know what the feedback's going to be from that yet, just because we just mailed those out. But I can assure you that that's more of a reach than we've ever really had before. And this would also allow us to partner with other visitor centers and conferences to do some of their publications as well. So, I mean, we're looking at more of I'm thinking a $10,000 budget,
Probably 20.
or 10 to 20.
Yeah, you can package a great print and online presence for somewhere in that $16,000 to $20,000 range with hotel occupancy tax fund. And you can do that with, for example, tourtexas.com and Texas Highways, and they'll provide you with not only your reach and your print content, but your online presence as well. So it will be a quantifiable number to council on how many website visits you're getting, how many online digital brochure downloads you're getting. And so it will expand the tourism marketing resources beyond what are currently being utilized.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the digital. We can have a lot of instant feedback, and we also can express it much further and in much more wide range.
And just so you're aware, we do analyze that data currently, but it's in a small, it's not very dense. And the other thing too is that we are currently working with tourtexas.com, so that process has already been started. I believe that we were a tourtexas.com customer maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Well, actually right when I started, so it'll almost be 8 years now. However, we've revisited that conversation and we're back in talks with moving forward with that. So. Mr. Keel, did you have a question?
Thank you.
Any other question? Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And Aaron, thank you for the opportunity to look at those other options. We appreciate it.
Item number 3, discussion and presentation from Derek Barrios.
Thank you, Mayor Pierce. Thank you, City Council, for having me here. The Lampasas County Higher Education Center has proudly served our community for over a decade and a half, empowering individuals with vital allied healthcare skills that directly address critical workforce needs in our region. The success of our graduates, the dedicated medical assistants, the compassionate certified nurse aides, the extraordinary dental assistants, and our skilled phlebotomy technicians stands as a testament to our enduring impact. Building upon this strong foundation, 2024 marked an ambitious expansion of our offerings with the launch of our electrical trades program, specifically focusing on residential wiring training. Recognizing the growing demand for skilled electricians within Lampasas County and beyond, this initiative aligns perfectly with our mission to provide accessible pathways to sustainable careers. The initial community response to this program has been overwhelmingly positive, indicating clear need and interest. However, the significant expansion has presented unforeseen financial challenges. Following the termination of our planned partnership for the electrical trades program, LCHEC experienced an unexpected increase in projected costs. While our team has demonstrated remarkable agility in ensuring the program's successful launch and continued operation, this unbudgeted expense with a slight downturn in enrollment has contributed to a budget deficit of $30,000 from the previous fiscal year. We are actively engaged in fundraising at this time. We actually sent out fundraising notices 2 weeks ago, and we're waiting on the returns to address the deficit and secure long-term sustainability of our programs. To ensure the continued success of our vital allied healthcare programs and the promising growth of our new electrical trades program, and to address the existing budget deficit, the Lampasas County Higher Education Center respectfully requests a contribution of $10,000 from the city of Lampasas. We have requested the same from the county, and were granted such. This is truly a crucial year in the existence of LCHEC. The success of both our established allied healthcare programs and the promising new electrical trades program hinges on securing adequate financial support. Our funding needs are critical to navigating this period of expansion and ensuring we can continue to meet the evolving workforce demands of our community. These funds will strategically be allocated to, one, offset the unexpected costs associated with the electrical trades program, ensuring we can continue to provide high-quality training that meets the demands of this crucial sector. Two, to support our ongoing efforts to attract and retain students in both our healthcare and trades programs, mitigating the impact of economic concerns on enrollment. Three, to contribute to the long-term financial stability of LCHEC, allowing us to continue serving as a vital resource for workforce development within Lampasas County. We firmly believe that LCHEC plays a crucial role in empowering individuals, strengthening our local economy, and meeting the evolving workforce demands of Lampasas. Your partnership and investment will directly contribute to our ability to continue providing accessible, high-quality career training across all of our programs, ensuring a brighter future for our residents. I thank you for your time, your consideration, and your ongoing commitment to the betterment of the city of Lampasas and the county. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions? Jerry, just a little curiosity.
Yes, sir.
What led to the termination of the planned partnership?
So we had a partnership with the Training Center of Central Texas at Parker Heights. They had provided us with curriculum. They were building our labs. So we had the residential wireman lab 90%, I would say, complete. It was ready to go. They started dragging their feet. That was in November of last year. They started dragging their feet. They actually removed their workers and took all their tools without explanation, said it was because of the holiday period, going into November, Thanksgiving, and then the Christmas break. We accepted that answer. January came, they hadn't returned. February came, they hadn't returned. My board decided at that time that they weren't good faith partners. We terminated the contract. Well, the contract had a 30-day waiting period. They had left their lab in place and never mentioned anything about recouping the lab. They waited to the final day of the termination agreement and called us and came and took their lab. And that's where it left us. So we have instructors. We actually have 2 instructors that are hired for this program. The request and what I had submitted to the city council is really just for the lab. It doesn't include textbooks, doesn't include salaries, doesn't include these things. But because of the fact that they pulled out, they set us back a year, basically. And we want to offer this program. We know there's a demand. Everyone we speak to appreciates this program. We have really good instructors for this, and we think it's going to be a really successful program. Unfortunately, it put us in a predicament where we kind of fell into a hole there, as well as dedicating so much time to the program. There's a lot of admin that I had to do getting these programs approved. It took almost 6 months to get the programs approved. And we have further programs. The residential wireman is not the end all. There's a solar technician program. There's a commercial electrician program. We have several other programs in the pipeline. But we want to get this program. This is the program with the most demand. And so we want to get this program off the ground. And we've had, like I mentioned, the city council, the county commissioners have granted us an increase in funding. The Economic Development Corporation had granted us some funding that was helping us when we had the partnership. And this is where we are. So this is what the request is for, and we're just trying to recoup that. We also did have a slight downturn in enrollment this past year for various reasons, but we have some new strategies on how to attract new students, and we think this program is a major part of that.
Mr. Vargas, what's your budget for yearly budget?
It varies. It's between $120,000 and $150,000.
Okay.
So $30,000, as you can imagine, is quite a chunk.
Okay.
And we haven't had a deficit that large since about, I think the first year I came in, we had a deficit about that large. We kind of leveled out for a while, and that was just due to the fact that we're a nonprofit school. We try to keep prices low, so we don't price ourselves out. We have done some new things. We have low interest loans for the more expensive programs now, so we're not financing loans for the students. We have an outside party that's very fair, so we're not facing the defaults. If students default on these loans, it doesn't directly affect us. We can resell the debt through the lender and get something out of it. So it's one of the things we've done to kind of try to get the money in line and make sure that we don't have deficits like this moving forward.
What kind of fundraising do you do?
Well, that's the responsibility of my board of directors. We have, traditionally, we haven't been much of a fundraising entity. We do a winter fundraiser, Christmas wreaths, very similar to like what the Lions Club does with poinsettias. This time we've done a mailing campaign. It's the first time we've done it. I took the initiative. The board of directors had ideas of what they wanted to do, but there wasn't much movement. And so I took the initiative to go ahead and create donor letters. We have received actually one significant donation from Mr. Joe Abel for $10,000. Which was wonderful, but a lot of that will be going to fill that hole. We still have costs on the program, which we laid out for you guys in that request.
The $30,000 deficit, is that what the amount that you're asking for the city, or is that the?
No. Well, I'm asking for 10. And we should receive 10 from the county. Now, of course, these are coming later in the year. The idea is to get this program rolling now. Which we're hoping that some of this fundraising that we're doing will be able to get that started. We have had a donation of equipment. Mr. Tommy Fogel donated a whole bunch of lumber to us, so we have the lumber now. It's just a matter of all the other items that are on that list. And as you can imagine, a program like this, a trade program, can be quite expensive. We're talking tools, fixtures for, electrical fixtures. Some of that stuff can be quite pricey.
Go ahead.
When these students graduate from our program, like what certifications are they acquiring?
So, first they get a certification through our residential wiring program. In addition, the 160 hours they're in class counts towards their apprenticeship. So they're earning apprentice hours, basically. And so when they're going out into the field, they're going out with some experience, 160 hours of apprenticeship under their belt, and they're a little more desirable for employers, as opposed to someone just training them from scratch.
Do you have a partnership lined up for this next year then?
In terms of?
You lost your partnership last year.
No, we're doing this ourselves.
So when?
We're doing it, we own the curriculum. We have the instructors that we've hired independently. We're doing it ourselves. We believe that our instructors are more than qualified. And as a matter of fact, one of the instructors that used to work for the partner school has come over to join us. So he has.
What's your enrollment? You said it went down. What is your enrollment?
Well, on average, we do about 50 to 75 just workforce training students. That doesn't include like community ed or CTC students or GED or any of those. Last year, we had 35 students, which was significant, significant drop. On a good year, we can do 120. But I would say on average, it varies from 50 to 75, which for a town our size, I think is pretty significant. For that. But those have mostly been through the medical trades. So we're thinking we can increase, the amount of students with this program, because right now our programs cater mostly to female students. So 95% of our student body is female. We're missing out on all the young men in Lampasas, and we know that this program will definitely attract them.
Well, I'm assuming you'll reach out to some of the local contractors in town.
I'm sorry?
I'm assuming you'll reach out to some of the
Yes,
local.
sir. Yes, sir. We had to get 5 local contractors to approve the program in order for the Texas Workforce Commission to give the program the green light. So Tim Miller, Jerry Bunting, we've had a bunch of electricians in town. I've spoken several times with Badger Builders. I'm trying to get as many stakeholders in this. Mr. Abel obviously thought it was worthwhile and came out of pocket and put some money into it. So we're really appreciative of that, and we've reached out through our fundraising campaign to a lot of those same people.
or speaking of that, has there been any contact with the school on some of those kids graduating for that construction project?
You know, as you were talking, I was just thinking along those lines that, you know, I think there could be some opportunity there. But that's probably for another conversation.
Absolutely, and we've met a couple of times, and I was just initially trying to get their support and get their feedback. You know, what did they think of the program? And they all gave positive feedback on the program. You know, we haven't requested anything in terms of funding or anything like that, or partnerships, but I'm more than open. Mayor Pierce knows that I'm more than open to partnerships with any stakeholders that would be interested.
Well,
Yes, sir.
I think your group is doing a good job. I know I started working with you when I worked for the county, and there's been so much done. You just serve a lot of people.
We try. It's a small facility, small budget. We try to get the biggest bang for the buck. You know, I've been doing this now 9 years. I don't regret any of it. I enjoy every moment of this. You know, and it's been a struggle on occasion, but we're still here, and a lot of it is because of your support, the county's support, and the community support. Without that support, you know, we walk a thin line. It's a real thin line, you know, financially. So
I'm just curious if you can get any local contractors, maybe some of this supplies that can be purchased through them that have bigger buying power, because some of the prices on your list here are quite elevated.
yeah, those were kind of general. We did speak to Roland Shaw at ACE about it, and my board has been speaking to individuals, and we did reach out also. We did a sponsorship request to 5 different companies like DeWalt and Makita, and those to get some tools and toolkits maybe put together for the individual students. Those numbers are definitely kind of ballpark figures, you know, and it's from my research. I'm not an electrician. So.
And I was also looking at your balance sheet, or I guess your statement of activities. And I just was curious, I noticed your fundraising expenses, it shows $2,367, but your fundraiser income is $1,310. Is there a reason?
That's because our accountant puts things in that category that are not necessarily supposed to be in that category. They kind of combine it with other things. I've had that same question from my board of directors. I would have to speak to the accounting board to kind of break down what that was, but that definitely was not fundraising expense in totality. We spent I would say maybe $600-700 on expense for fundraiser. The fundraiser this year was not as successful as it normally is. Our Christmas tree fundraiser just didn't get any traction this year. In the past, it's been something that has a small profit, margin. Nothing that's a sustainable fundraiser. But that is technically the fundraising part of things is the responsibility of my board of directors. I can bring them to water, I can't make them drink. And I do my part in terms of making my funding requests from the entities that I'm able to speak in front of. But
I'm just making sure your fundraiser is possible.
no, sir, no.
Also, have you all talked to any of the, I'm sure when they graduate, having those contacts where you can get those kids right back into our local area to...
Oh yeah, no, we're definitely partnering with, we want to partner with the local contractors. The issue is that we have to have something to show them. We have to have a lab, we have to have some results in order to show them the quality of these students. So until we actually graduate out some, we have tentative agreements or understandings,
What does a day look like for you guys when you have students? Do you have students 2 hours, 5 hours?
Most classes are 4 hours a day, and most of them are in the evening.
Okay, in the evening.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, most of our daytime activities, things like we have CTC there daytime. We have recently we have like some counseling from Hill Country Community Action. Hill Country Children's Advocacy. They have some counseling there. Excuse me, my mouth is really dry. So there's other activities that occur during the daytime. Most of the classes, 4-hour blocks, 3 to 4 days a week.
One of the things that has helped the Badger Builders is partnership with the different supply houses and material providers and different things like that. And not only for just supplies, but also for funding and this and that type of thing, so. I don't know.
Well, my understanding is that my board of directors were gonna speak to some of those folks.
Okay.
So when I have some results, I'd love to share them with you.
Yeah,
You know, that was I was gonna do these letters. They said they were gonna go speak to people directly, one-on-one. You know, business owners, people who have supplies, as you mentioned. I'm waiting for the results on those. You know, we just started the fundraising drive about 2-3 weeks ago.
gotcha, okay.
So, but we have received some donations, like I said, and then we received some donation of material as well. And we're looking for donations of labor as for construction of the lab.
How many hours is it required, to be eligible to take the residential wireless class?
How many hours in term required?
To be able, from TDLR to be able to take the test for that license?
Oh, to get the license, the full, well, my understanding is an apprenticeship is I believe it's a 4-year program overall. That's my understanding of it. We're just getting them started. We're just getting them started so they can go with some knowledge to an employer and then hopefully take their career off from there. Some of the other programs that we have in the pipeline might, you know, help further, you know, the career in terms of hours and getting them over to other levels.
And you guys have other programs just besides the electrical program?
Of course, we have our medical assisting program, nurse aide, phlebotomy technician, patient care technician. We still have an IT program on the books. There's just not much demand for that program right now, which is a computer networking program. And we have some other programs that we just don't have instructors for, like medical billing and coding, medical admin. And we're always open to new programs. We're always trying to find new programs that are feasible because of our restrictions with our facility. We can't do a welding program because we don't have a welding shop. We have classrooms. But anything that we can do in the facility, we're open to offering.
And this funding is for all of your programs, it's not just for...
Yes, I'm just kind of focusing in on the residential wiring because we really want to get that off the ground. And there was a lot of expense that was incurred in that, just admin expense. Every time I send something for approval, get a new program approved, Texas Workforce Commission, $500. An instructor, $90. If I change something in the program, there's another fee associated with it. Second instructor, another fee. Renewal every year. There's fees for everything. And getting a new program off the ground is probably one of the most expensive things that we do.
Is there an age requirement to start with the program?
18 and up, yes, sir. All of our programs usually require that you're 18 except for nurse aides. Nurse aides can train while they're still of high school age, 16 and up.
Now, just another random question. So, my wife recently was looking for a phlebotomist for her business. I mean, how involved are y'all with those kind of businesses in town? Because she had no clue that they reached out all over the place.
Well, because we do a lot of placement with regional partners, we do placement with Advent, but mostly with Scott and White. So that's kind of where our workers are going. They're heading over to Scott and White. A lot of our phlebotomists are doing it as a supplement to another certification, let's say like a medical assistant certification. They can increase their wages with a phlebotomy certification. Not many phlebotomists are actually going straight for certification into a phlebotomy job. A lot of phlebotomy jobs require a 2-year experience, but then nobody wants to try to give you that 2 years, to get that experience. So phlebotomy is usually, I market it more as a supplemental certification. But if your wife reaches out to me, I'm sure I can find her some candidates.
She had no clue that was even offered. And so, that's a better way to get y'all's name out there. Where y'all are, these programs that y'all are offering, obviously there's students who are interested in it. And just keep those students here in town.
Absolutely. I think the overall demand for phlebotomists just locally is probably pretty low. But, I'm more than willing to sit down and talk to people and see, where their needs are. And if I can do something better to make sure that we're putting the word out there, I'll do that. Like I said, phlebotomy is probably one of the smaller programs also. I would think maybe we graduate 1-2 classes a year. Medical assisting is really kind of the main, and nurse aid, of course. Nurse aid is only a 6-week program, so we run about 4 or 5 of those.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next up, the discussion and presentation from the hall.
We have Mr. Tony Austin with us tonight to present on behalf.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. It's been almost a year since I was in front of you guys before, and I just want to give you a quick history of what has transpired. So last year, when I came here, I was trying to explain to you a new service that we were getting ready to start, which is what is called micro transit, and it had to do with a lot of technology and et cetera. So just to recap, what we presented last year was there was 3 levels of service, basically a micro transit inside the city of Lampasas, and then we were going to do a demand response out in the county area, and then a commuter bus that was going to go from Walmart into Clean, into CTC, and Advent Health. And that was the 3 levels of service, and we requested from the county $70,000, which at that time they chose not to fund the transit district, which then in turn the city had decided that they would fund the transit district with $35,000. So that was a year ago. I will tell you, we have done quite a bit of stuff since that year has gone by. We started off last year, the ending of last year, with the urban microtransit, which took off really well. And then we transitioned to the rural microtransit at the beginning of March. So that's why the data you have in front of you basically is just from March, because that's the only data that we have currently on this new software. I will tell you the new software has really made us a whole lot more efficient. We used to schedule based off of time periods, and then that would mean that you have, when you call a dispatcher, they would look at a time slot on a calendar, and then that's when we could schedule your trip. Well, with the software, we were able to become a lot more efficient. So that way, when a bus was in a certain area and somebody requested a trip, we were able to have that bus pick that person up and then take them along, especially if they're going to common areas like Walmart or etc. So it has really made us a lot more efficient and throughout our district. We're to the point that we saved about $2.5 million for the whole district. But of course, in doing that, we also went from 9 counties down to 4 counties. So that played a big factor on our funding ability because of the fact that how TxDOT does our funding is based on our land mass, our population, and of course, how well we're efficient that we are. So if you go from the 9 counties down to the 4 counties, well, that cuts up a lot of land mass, especially when there's everything on our western side of us. So the funding that come down from the state and federal government is a whole lot less than what we were used to because we had 9 counties. But with the software, we're starting to notice a few things that's helping us quite a bit to become a whole lot more efficient. And one of the ways we're noticing is what we call our KPIs. So this is the first page. So our KPIs, now typically in Lampasas, we had a whole lot of trips that we did last year because we were doing school children. Of course, we chose not to do school children because the school children, to do the school children, we had to actually cut a bus out and leave it at the school to up to about 3 hours because of the time period it took to get in line, wait for the schools, to all those parents in front of us because we couldn't get into the bus line. So therefore, it cut almost 3 hours of service to take about 12 children home a day. And then, even then, sometimes that bus wouldn't go because parents would come pick them up. And so we were only taking some of the children in the afternoon, about 3 to 4 children in the evening services. So we realized that that wasn't using the money correctly. So therefore, we chose not to do that service. So from March 3rd to June 2nd, as you can see, we have done 1,061 trips. Requests. So those are people that are doing requests. Now, the number between the completed boarding at 826, it seems like there's a big change, but we're starting with the software. So if you look now near the bottom 2 or the bottom 3, the booking from the Rider app is only 8.6, where the booking from a call-in is at 90%. So when you call in, we're still kind of subject a little bit to that time slot window and not as efficient as what we would like to be. So we need more people to start using the app. Why are people not using the app? Of course, technology. Some of our clientele do not use, or they're not tech savvy. So some of that is just not happening that way. And we're trying really hard to get more and more people to use that app. It will also pick up a little bit more because of the fact that we also started off doing fares. So microtransit was $2, demand response was $4, and a commuter was $6 to take a trip. So it may not seem like a lot of money, but when you go from zero, from somebody who's on a fixed income to almost $20 a day if they want to go to clean and back, that's a lot of money, and we're very aware of that. So we noticed there is a downtick of that aspect. One of the biggest things I want to show you is right in the middle of that thing where it says no driver available. That means zero. That means when somebody called and requested a trip, there was a driver available immediately for that trip. So that's a great thing compared to what we were before because of the fact that we had buses going out everywhere. And sometimes when you're slotted by time, again, just because a person wanted to go at that time, that bus was going in that direction, the dispatcher would say no driver available because they don't realize exactly where that bus is at. So if you go to the next page, this is the part of the example of what the app can do for us. This is what we call a pickup heat map. So that heat map, if you look, we're red obviously being there's a lot of trips there, and of course the light green is where less trips at. We can actually see on a map now exactly where those trips are going to and coming from. So when we do a pickup and drop off on the heat map, because the next page is drop off, but understand the pickup also means that return trip is going to go someplace. So if you look at the biggest spots that you have there, the northern red spot is the assisted living housing apartments that you have there. So you have a lot of clientels that are actually riding from that area. And then the one farthest to your right is going to be Walmart. And then the other big kidney-looking red map, that is the apartments across from the creek with the senior centers. And then the other mark is at the HEB. So we can actually see where everything's getting picked up. So a lot of people always ask us, well, where are these clients coming from? This is an exact pickup and drop off. The software is getting even better, so we're actually going to be able to travel and look at certain things as we go. Because I don't know if we told you last year, but we won an award for being the innovative transit district in the state of Texas by the Texas Transit Association. So we're doing something that nobody else is doing in the state of Texas, and that's combining the rural, urban, and this commuter buses that we're running. We are the front runners for the software. We're the ones that are, I hate to say, we're the R&D for that software. But it's been beneficial because, of course, being R&D, we also get some discounts on that software, so we're not paying the full price on that software. So, but what this heat map does, eventually what we can do is once the city grows into a larger section and we start looking at, we might have to put a real bus route in, the heat map will tell us exactly to where to put that bus route in. And that's what we're doing in the city of Killeen. We're actually noticing in Killeen, there is a certain route that we're noticing because we see the heat signatures that says this is where a bus route probably should go. So therefore, we're actually going to set a bus route in a few years. We're going to set a bus route in where the demand is versus where we think the demand is and have it going down roads that nobody's going to get picked up there. So the drop-off heat map, same thing, just like the pickup heat map. You see a little more of the yellows popping up quite a bit, and of course that's taking people home quite a bit. In the city of Lampasas, we're projecting that we should have about 4,900 trips just in the city of Lampasas by the end of this year. That's our projection, our hope. So with saying all that, the ridership in Lampasas has dropped because of the fact that we're not doing the rural ridership anymore. So our state and federal apportionment has dropped drastically in the city of Lampasas, where the combined state and federal apportionment that's come to us is only $197,000 apportionment. So that's almost a 70% drop from last year's apportionment. But we're going to try to maintain what we're doing on the levels of service except for one. We are currently in public hearings about eliminating that commuter route. Even though we've heard a lot of people talk about we want to take that commuter route from Lampasas into the Killeen area, we've only had a few riders do it, and it's not being cost effective for us to continue running that bus up and down that road with nobody on that bus. So therefore, we went to public hearings. I was out at the Spring Hole Festival this year asking people to say, hey, we want to think about eliminating this. And a lot of people agreed to it because of the fact it was being cost effective and because of the cost. A big part of it was the cost. The other part of it was they had to make connecting trips to go there. So you'd have to, somebody who lived a ways away would have to go to Walmart, had to get to Walmart and then get on the bus, go to CTC, get on the urban bus, and then continue on if say if they want to go to Scotland Light, etc. So a lot of people just didn't like that. So we're going to eliminate that commuter bus and do it on a demand response. So the demand response again will have to be a person that calls in 24 hours in advance, let us know that they want to go to HEB in Cockers Cove, and we will schedule that bus to go to HEB in Cockers Cove, picking them up at their house versus having to come to Walmart to get picked up now. So the disadvantage of that means they have to do it 24 hours in advance. The advantage is they get a direct point to destination, drop off to destination. But we won't go beyond Cockers Cove and the eastern edge of Killeen. If they want to continue on to Scott and White, we have to ask them that they get on the urbanized service system, because otherwise the bus will be gone all day and then become more inefficient for us to be able to sustain doing that. So we're also only going to do that Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So that's one of the biggest, those are one of the biggest changes. But we've added, in the demand response, we've added discounts, because we didn't do discounts. We only did discounts in the city of Lampasas. With this demand, we're going to also do the discounts, because that's something else in the public hearing that people are requesting from us is, hey, how come only the city of Lampasas gets discounts and if we live outside, we don't get discounts? So we're going to extend the discounts, about 8 different discounts, veterans, seniors, there's those that are in school, whether it's CTC, Texas A&M CT, high school, etc. If they show us that they are a student, they have a student pass, then we'll have them as student prices. So the bottom line of all this is that Hill Country Transit District is requesting a commitment of $35,000 to continue the microtransit service in the designated city zone and a Monday through Friday, and adding a demand response in the county region for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, if I said $35,000, but I went to the Commissioner's Court this morning, and they have committed to 50% of it from the county versus last year not submitting anything. But it's all contingent on what the city is going to do. So with that, if you have any questions.
What did we pay last year?
We paid $35,000. The request was $70,000. I apologize. The budget request was $70,000. The county did not agree to pay their portion of it. The city did pay $35,000 in its entirety. This year, they lowered that because they're changing the service model. So the county is committed to $17,500 if the city pays the remaining $17,500.
How many people max do you have on the bus at the same time?
How many can we have?
What's the most you've gotten on the bus?
At this time, I don't know that exact number. I can look that up.
I was curious. I mean, I calculated about 8 rides per day is what it came out to for that 3-month deal. And I mean, is it fuel effective to have a bus versus a van or something like that?
And we do. So we are. That's part of the efficiency that we're going to. So half our fleet has gone to smaller vans. So right now, Lampasas has 2 of the bigger buses, which one of them is slated to be replaced, I think, next year.
Okay.
So the one we had in the parade for Spring Hole will still be here because it has the lifespan. It probably has another 3 or 4 more years on its life cycle.
Okay.
So you guys are just Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And do you guys do any advertising or anything that promotes your site, app, system?
So we have. So when we started this last year, Typically, we only did about 5 what we call travel training in a year. And mostly that's done in the urbans, not so much in the rural. This year, they've done over 40 travel training, and we've been out to the senior center, I think 4 times this year. We were down at the Spring Hole. I'm trying to get it a little bit more engaged to process this. It is a battle with this app. It just, every time we show the app, everybody just, I don't want to see the app. Just, how can I get, can we still call you? Yes, you can still call us. So we're trying to. We're going to try to link to the city's website, the county's websites, and I've been talking to a little bit of the chamber to see what kind of events you guys got going on. Of course, we only made 3.5 days in the Spring Hole, but again, we attended the Spring Hole parade. We're trying to get out there a lot more.
Can anybody ride the hop?
Anybody can ride the hop.
Okay. Now, we need one out at the airport, don't we?
Oh, I'm sitting there, thinking about that.
Yeah, I think we looked at it when we were planning the zone, but the airport just happens to be just a little too lengthy for us to actually drive out there and drive back.
Yeah.
And that becomes causing us a little inefficiency.
On the on-demand, did I misunderstand? Did you say that you only go within the county?
No, so now currently we do not. We don't do anything outside the city limits of the city zone that we designated. So when we go to this next year, when we go to the on-demand, yes, it will be those outside the county. So we will cover the county because the county has chosen to do their portion of their contributions.
And you also had, there was a lot of discussion last year about medical appointments. You indicated there was fewer of them than expected.
Yes, there's even less now, to the point that actually Hill Country Transit District, beginning of this month, has chosen not to do non-emergency medical transportation because the cost it was way too high to the distance that they were asking us to travel to. And because of this broker system, in the clean Temple area, there are quite a few smaller, what we call mom and pop, non-emergency medical transportation providers out there that would do those trips a whole lot cheaper than we could ever do the trip. Something we just don't understand how Health and Human Services has put such strict guidance on us as the transportation providers in the area, where our training, we're having to bring drivers in constantly for training just to meet the standards, but yet these mom and pops don't have to do the exact same training that we have to.
You didn't get the funding from the city or the county, what would happen? Where would you get that funding from, or what would follow?
Well, it's a really complicated thing. So what would eventually happen? There's a possibility that even though the state and county, or the county and city gets $197,000 from the state and federal government, we have to come up with a match money to draw that money down. So if we can't draw that money down, then it basically goes to almost zero. So the only thing we could possibly do is we have to have a bus here maybe 3 times, Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday, in unlimited hours. Cost of one driver right now still stands at $113,000 a year, and that's running full the fuel, everything, the bus, the driver benefits, and everything else.
I did want to say thank you. Another lady another day, just a couple days ago, came to Lampasas asking for help from a domestic abuse situation, and the hop helped her to get to the grocery store. She had no car. So it worked out very well.
I'm glad to hear that. I like hearing stories like that.
Anyone else? Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Discussion regarding any item on the regular agenda? Do so at this time. And with that, we'll get a motion to adjourn the workshop.
So, second.
All in favor? Aye. All rise. I think we're waiting on somebody else to come, so. Anyway, let's adjourn for 7 or 8 minutes. Is that good? All right. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we couldn't be more grateful to be here tonight in this beautiful community and this great building amongst good people. We ask that you be with us, that we be able to present some information, make some good decisions for the betterment of the entire community. We've been grateful for the rains lately, grateful for the green grass. We ask that you continue to be with our community. Help us make good decisions tonight. Watch over us in safety. And as always, in Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
Will you join us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor and Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
We've got a couple of presentations here this evening. It's always an honor to present these. Jacob Rivera, been here for 10 years, cemetery, and he is not here. But I do know Judge Robert Riddell is here for 30 years of service, and we thank you greatly for your service. Citizens comment. Any citizen who desires to address the city council on a matter not included on the agenda may do so at this time. The city council may not deliberate on items presented up underneath this agenda. And we do have one presenter, Rebecca Marshall.
Hi there. This is my first time, but I live at 1402 West Avenue C. Sorry. I live at 1402 West Avenue C. And I know y'all are aware of the recent floods. Well, the neighborhood that I live in has been getting flooded with water all around us. And it is coming from subdivisions on both sides. And I'm talking on behalf of the neighbors too, because everybody's getting it, left and right. And I've got it the most because I live in a dip. But when you go out back and you have 5 feet of water in your back door, you go out front, you have 3 feet of water in your front door, you can't get out the car garage. And you can't get your car out of the driveway because it's too much water coming down the street wise. And how do you feel when you have to be rescued? And there is a creek back behind us that this has not been disclosed to anybody evidently. And there is just too much water coming off those streets. We would like to ask for any help, if we can, to get some kind of diversion, some kind of drainage, something that'll help all of us, not just me, all of us, because it affects everybody. And it leaves the neighborhood bickering, because it's not my fault, it's not their fault, because the water's coming off the city streets. And we need drainage. We need some kind of drainage to help everybody else. Because the smallest rain, and I have pictures. I can show you pictures that is unbelievable of the rain. And we don't live in a floodplain, but you would think that you did. But we are asking for the city to help and try to secure our families, because when you have to get rescued 3 times in a week and a half, and my son, he's the one that saved my house. He stayed back and I got rescued by the fire department. And your fire department is awesome. And your police department is too. I mean, that is a pleasure to see all of them that come up. And we're asking for help. For everybody in the sanity of the neighborhood. And we can see where the water's coming from. We can see left and right, up and down, all around. We're just getting drowned, flooded out. And this last one, yeah, they said it was a 1,000-year flood. But who's going to take that chance with your family? I'm not. And I know all of y'all are family. Y'all have family. And y'all care about them. Well, so do we. We love our family too. And we deserve a safe home. We are property taxpayers. We pay taxes just like anybody else, and we matter. And just for the record, I was told that no one has ever brought it to them. And it was not on the record anywhere of it flooding. Well, it's flooding. I have pictures. And maybe you do not believe them. I could not believe it because I have never seen water like that before. And we're just asking for help.
John, is that something you can kind of look into, sir?
I am aware of the situation, and I recently discussed the thing with you on the phone, and
Yes, sir.
we'll continue to look forward to next efforts, see what we can figure out. I told you I'd get back to you, and I didn't put up to it, so.
Thank you,
We
sir.
appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Seven point two, discussion of possible action regarding, I'm sorry. 1.2, citizens comment. Any citizen who desires to address the city council on a matter that is included on the agenda may do so at this time. And there is none. 2.1, discussion of possible action regarding the approval of minutes of the special meeting held on July 11th, 2025.
Motion approved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Stay.
Discussion and possible action regarding the approval of minutes on the regular meetings held on July the 14th, 2025.
Recommend approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion and possible action regarding the approval of minutes of the special meeting held on July the 16th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion and possible action regarding the approval of minutes of the special meeting held on July the 21st, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Stay.
Consent agenda, discussion and possible action regarding the second reading of an ordinance for request to rezone property legally described as part of Lot 6-7, Block 7 East, Lampasas Edition, from Commercial C to Single Family Resident, Family 6, SF6, commonly known as 11112 East 4th Street, Lampasas County.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Boards and departments.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here to present the 2025 Parks Department Annual Report. The City of Lampasas Parks Department is committed to enriching the lives of our residents and visitors by maintaining beautiful, safe, and accessible parks. We strive to celebrate the unique charm and natural beauty of Lampasas We are responsible stewards of our public spaces, fostering a strong sense of respect, place, health, and connection for all. I'd like to start by introducing our staff. We have interim Parks Director John McElroy, and then we have Park Superintendent Jesse Acosta. He's been here 18 years. Me, I'm the Parks Administrative Assistant. Libby Charping, I've been here 17 years. Park Technician John Grantland, he's been here 16 years with us. Abel Palacios, he's been here 8. Park Technician Rodney Kepler. Tyler Evans, he's been here 2 years. And our new hire, Payson Kepler. We also hired a Parks and Recreation Specialist, Lady Carter. She's took off running with lots of stuff that she is doing. We have 33 seasonal pool staff, a pool manager, assistant pool manager, 2 ground maintenance personnel, and 29 lifeguards and cashiers. We have our Park and Recreation Facility staff. We have Steve Knowlton as the crew leader. He's been here 3 years. Nick Eagley, he's a field technician. He's been here 10 years. And Trent Wood, he's been here 1 year. And then we have the cemetery staff. Jacob Rivera, he's our crew leader. He's been here 10 years. Joshua Palacios, he's been here 9 years. And Marcel Chapa, 15 years, and he's fixing to retire. Our airport, we just recently hired an aviation director, Robert Lansford. Robert has done a great job. He's got big plans for the airport, so I'm excited to see where that leads us. But at the airport, there's 10 community hangars, 20 single hangars, and 2 box hangars out there. The parks crew, they maintain over 600 acres. They do the 580 complex, Avenue 8 Park, Campbell Park, and Hannah Pool, City Hall complexes, the College Street Park, Color School, the New Hope Church, the Cook Cemetery, the Cooper Springs Nature Park, the Gavin Garrett Soccer Complex, the library, the Goodrich Tennis Course, the Hancock Park and Pool and Pavilion. They do the Head Start and Senior Center, the Hostess House, Municipal Airport, Oak Hill Cemetery, the Suvan Park, the Turner Complex, and W.M. Brook Park. So they stay pretty busy with all the mowing and the weeding, and with this rains, that's all they've been able to do is just that. Projects completed. We have 2 kiosks at the back and hike trails installed. We're planning on putting some a map and to let people know where all they could go. We have cameras installed in all the parks, the 580s, the parks office. The light poles at Turner have been removed. They're preparing for new lights. The project's still in progress. We had a new rock wall installed at the Rodeo Arena. The fuel tank installed at the airport, and the AWAS should be done by the end of October. (2024-2025) projects in progress. The bike and hike trails we're still doing some things out there. The installation of the Turner Complex lights, the Parks Master Plan. We're identifying maintenance needs to optimize the budget plan for the fiscal year 2026, and the AWAS system and the airport layout plan. 2024 and 2025 calendar events that all the parks staff handle. We've done, in October, we do the Boots and Blazers. In November, we had the barbecue cook-off. December, Carol of Lights and Christmas on the Creek. In January, we did the Polar Plunge. March, we did the Born to Soar competition at the skate park. April, we do the kids' art in the park. May, we opened both pools for the season. We had roof stock at the WM Park. Park. They were at a roundup in the barbecue cook-off. In June, we had the Sulphur Creek Park Cruise, Moonlight Swim, and Dive-In Movie. In July, our guys are busy with the Spring Hole Festival, preparing that and working it. In August, we're gonna have a back-to-school bash with a movie there, and that should be this weekend. Vendors are coming, they're giving free haircuts, we're gonna give school supplies, we're having ice cream, hot dogs. It should be a great get-together. In September, we began prep work on Christmas displays, and I got a call from one of the ladies, and they're starting to paint. They're going to start painting those on Saturdays and getting those ready for Christmas. So that'll be good. We also do numerous weddings, family reunions, birthday parties, sporting events, and tournaments. Steve has a lot of tournaments out there at the 580 complex. We ran out the sculpture pavilion. We have a lot of get-togethers out there. We even had a church get-together this past weekend that turned out really nice, and the customers were really happy with that. We have Stephen Knowlton and Robert Lansford here if y'all have any questions. That was kind of short, but or I'll talk fast. One of the two. Don't have any questions?
That's good. Thank you.
Okay. No questions? All righty. Thank y'all.
Administrative manager's operational report.
Mayor and Council, not this past Friday, but the Friday before, Texas Department of Emergency Management sent a couple of team members in to do a preliminary damage assessment for some of the flooding. We had to reach a certain threshold, a dollar value of damage to qualify for any disaster declaration. That threshold, surprisingly, is $100,000, and we easily met that with some of the public infrastructure damage that we received. So TDM is currently looking through our TML insurance policy and kind of doing some truing up to see what will be covered and what won't be. So we're ironing out what we will be available for assistance on the funding to replace flood damage.
Will that help any of the citizens?
That's just public assessment only. That the city had pushed out on our Facebook page and on our website the ISTAT. So this is called the PSTAT, that's for public assistance. The ISTAT it takes in private property damage. People are able to upload the description and photos of the damage they received on their personal property. So we did push that out and encourage residents to fill that out. As people are still coming in, we're encouraging them to go to that website through TDM to fill that out, and potentially that could trigger some assistance from the state and federal.
Do you have any idea where we're at on that? Like, because there were quite a few people with damage, and so I haven't heard anything.
I have not heard anything from TDM on that. Solely, they've reached out to us on the public assistance. Hancock Spring School received a little bit of damage in the flooding. Bureau Veritas did go do an inspection on that and released it to be reopened, so we did do that over the weekend. Bailey was there with TML today to look at some of the damage that pool went through with those recent floods. It was just completely covered. We did have a little bit of a rough patch with Business 281 being closed down. It was successful. That should be back open today. You should be able to get to Hancock from 281 unless something else different. They did tell me that would be reopened today. So it's been a little bit of a mess down Business 281, but they can. Hannah Spring School will reopen tomorrow. It'll be limited to 75 patrons. That's due to staff shortage and unavailability, so we'll have to limit the number of patrons that can attend the pool, but we do plan on reopening that tomorrow. Contractors and architects on the hostess house are preparing their final punch list for walkthrough, and we will have staff present for those as their construction years attend. Pretty much everything is done. Again, it's just those little final items that they're getting to. We've finalized the bid for the remote FDC, and it should have been released today or tomorrow. so we can get that portion complete. A lot of that was dependent on where we got with the ADA parking. We encouraged them to be creative if they needed to come in with the confines of the law. They aren't gonna need to cut into any of the grass area there, so we're going to start bidding on the ADA parking soon as well, since that engineering is complete. So we anticipate that should all be wrapped up this fall. I don't have an exact timeline for you on that. But the good news is that the early numbers on the parking lot came well under what we had allocated for that, so we anticipate it should be a good standing on that parking.
Did that parking lot repair, is that including the whole parking lot now?
No, ma'am. So to bring the portion ADA compliant, I'm hesitant to put an exact number to it because I know that can blow up in our face. The engineer is estimating between $55,000 and $60,000 to bring that into ADA compliance. So I did, since that was significantly under what we had earmarked for it, I'm having him do an add alternate to the bid to resurface the entire parking lot, but we don't have to accept that. We just have to bring the ADA compliance up.
I wonder if any of that was damaged in the flood. You seen that damage in the flood, maybe? The parking lot?
Maybe.
That might.
Maybe.
One more question on the pool. Just for clarification, and spring school was closed due to staff shortages, is that correct? So like-
And the Springs was closed, we had to provide a new AV device before we could reopen that. And now it's just going to be a limited number of patrons due to staffing shortages.
Seven point one, discussion and possible action regarding the renewal of the lease agreement between the city of Lampasas and the county of Lampasas Rodeo Association for the 580 Sports Complex Rodeo Arena.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This agreement was signed last year, July 24th, so we're up for our annual renewal. Nothing has changed at this time, and staff doesn't recommend any changes. Just here to answer questions.
No questions. We had a meeting with our association the 16th of July, it's a couple of weeks ago now, and we voted unanimously not to renew the contract with the city. Moving forward, we're just looking, there's several reasons for it, but the infrastructure that we need is not there. And we know it's a large lump sum of money to try to get it there. Personally, have a hard time asking for funding, from private individuals of what's been out there. So as hard as it was, we reached the agreement, but we're not going to pursue signing this agreement. So we repaired the road last week that was taken out by the flood. It's been cleaned up. I worked with Stephen. It's in good shape right now. So that's where we're at with it.
Anybody have any questions or anything?
So is the Parks Department gonna pick up the rodeo arena back up, or are we gonna talk to the riding club again that you said? I mean, how does that work?
Parks Department will pick up, I apologize. Parks Department will maintain the facilities until someone else decides to sign a contract.
Okay, that sounds great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. 7.2, discussion and possible actions regarding the Lampasas County Chamber of Commerce and Business Center 2025-26 budget.
Mayor and Council, I do just want to point out a couple of things in this agreement. It does say that earlier that staff didn't have any comments on it. I do want to point out on the reporting requirements in the contract. It says that the chamber shall report quarterly. That's gonna be on page 79, section 7B. It says semi-annual reports. The state law requires quarterly reporting from the recipient of those funds, so staff recommends changing that to be consistent with state law to require the chamber to report quarterly. And I spoke to Melissa about that earlier. She has absolutely no problems with that. There's a couple of places that it indicates FY '24 or year 2024 instead of 25. I know that's because this is an auto renewal, but since we will have some changes to make on the reporting requirements, we'll update the years to reflect accurately for the time period it's covering. That was the staff's comments.
Is for budget item 7.3.
So yeah, that was 7.3, and then 7.2 in regards to the budget, as we discussed earlier, it'll be where I come back. However, if there's any questions now, I can answer those. And then of course, when I come back, if there's any questions, I won't change anything on it. But if you think of any questions or anything, depending on when I come back for that, I think that's going to be determined based on when the city budget is finalized. Is that correct here? Okay. Yeah, so it'll be, I guess, maybe September. Okay. So we'll look at September to come back for that. I will say though, between now and then, based on our earlier conversation about increasing the marketing budget, I said nothing will change. I guess that will change. So Aaron and I, potentially, so Aaron and I can get together and in your budget discussions, we'll come up with that number and then that will be re-factored into the budget. So it will be a little bit more, but it'll be in the budget line, so, or the marketing line, sorry.
Any other questions or anything? For transparency purposes, let's get this contract done correctly, before we approve it in writing, and we can let it, it's all on the same time. I don't think there's any reason to go through a motion, amend it here and there, that's a correct document, well, it's all, later.
That is take no action.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do
So I'll come back in September and see you all then. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 7.4, discussion of possible action to amend the code of ordinance of the city of Lampasas, chapter 54, Parks and Recreation by amending section 54-166 relating to an operation of non-motorized vehicle in the public park, provided for a savings clause, provided for a severity clause, provided for a penalty, a fine not to exceed $500 per offense, and providing an effective date.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council. The current reading prior to this potential amendment only penalizes individuals who misuse our parks and green spaces. With motorized vehicles, oftentimes we have a lot of people go and drive out on the soccer complexes with their vehicles, drive on the baseball, softball fields, and that severely damages the infrastructure of the sod and also the irrigation in the area. More recently, we have had issues with individuals who will take out their e-bikes and their bicycles onto these soccer fields and parks as well, and they're now doing significant damage to the park properties in the excess of thousands and thousands of dollars every single year. And so we are recommending or motion to approve the first reading of this ordinance change to include e-bike and bicycle in the ordinance, and the e-bike definition is defined by Texas state code.
Any questions?
Is this for all the parks? This is yes, all parks within the city, yes.
Okay, so what about like during events, when we'll have to host events in Campbell Park? And what exactly do you mean by like e-bikes tearing stuff up? Because like, we'll ride e-bikes around like the sidewalks and stuff, the bike trails.
This is more so for the
sod and grass areas that are not meant to be ridden on.
So like the fields, not
Correct.
the actual like.
Correct, so we have designated bike areas, we have a skate park, anything that's sidewalk, asphalt, or is a hike and bike trail, for example, the 580 complex, that this would not apply. And in the ordinance, it does say in an inappropriate manner. And so if they're out tearing up sod or tearing up irrigation on a soccer field, that's what we're aiming towards versus somebody appropriately using our parks.
So like when people bring stuff into the camel park that's not irrigated or sod, that's not true.
No, ma'am.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of the amendments to the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lampasas, Chapter 54, Parks and Recreation, Section 54 through 166.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Just curious about like the park cook-offs. Would, I mean, I know people take RVs out there, and it's, you know, if they can do that, would that be limited with this?
No, sir, we would not seek to have any type of reprimand for city sanctioned events.
Okay, I just didn't hear you guys mention traffic trailer, that's what.
Correct, and the current reading, prior to this potential amendment does also include those motorhomes. But at the same time, that's not the intent of this ordinance. The ordinance is more for misuse of parkland versus, sanctioned events or intended use.
Anyone else? All in favor? Thank you. Discussion and possible action amending ordinance 543, section 2 of the Code Ordinance of the City of Lampasas, Chapter 54, Parks and Recreation, relating to setting rates for the use of recreational facilities and programs for the City of Lampasas, Texas, to establish regulations for the use of swimming facilities by children under 14 years of age, providing an effective date, containing severability and repealer clauses.
This is a city ordinance that just needs to be brought up to state code. When we were looking for this ordinance, it was originally written in the 80s when the Texas Public Pool Council nor the Texas Aquatic Code and Administrative Code have not been written in this much depth. So currently, the ordinance states a child who is 8 years old or older can be allowed at the pool without, allowed at city or municipal pools without a parent present. The minimum for state Texas Public Pool Code and Texas Administrative Code is 14 years old. And so we're just looking to bring this amendment up to state code.
Any questions?
Now make a motion to approve the first reading of an ordinance amending ordinance 543, section 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Lampasas, Chapter 54, Parks and Recreation, relating to the setting rates for use of recreational facilities and programs of the City of Lampasas, Texas, to establish regulations for those use of swimming facility by children under 14 years of age, providing an effective date, containing severability and repealer clauses.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
7.6, discuss and consider resolution by the City Council directing approximately 18.80 acres, more or less, of the John Burleson Survey Abstract 42, commonly known as 501 East North Avenue, and Springs Polo Parkway.
So in 2008, Cooper Springs, the area immediately surrounding Anna Springs Pool, was dedicated as parkland. When a city dedicates some kind of plat or tract to parkland, it is just the city saying we are going to dedicate ourselves to maintaining this for parks and recreation for decades to come. It's just more so a dedication. We're not attempting to rezone this. It is zoned as single-family residential, which actually allows it to be dedicated and not rezoned for parkland use. It is unknown as to why the Hannah Springs plat was not included in the Cooper Springs dedication in 2008. But in that dedication, it is recommended that Hannah Springs pool area was to be parkland dedicated in the future, but there was never any evidence that occurred. We are seeking to have this as dedicated parkland tonight, just to open up some opportunities for some grants, federal and state level grants that are out there right now to assist with some expenditures at the facility, to include the potential for the plaster and or the pool liner, and that is a grant in the amount of $150,000, and so we're looking to offset an excessive amount of funding for that project.
So is this the actual pool and like where the volleyball courts, which is the community garden, is that 18 acres?
Correct. And so it's the pool area itself, and then it includes the garden area to the side, and just the grassy area to the opposite side of Hannah Springs. It goes up to the parking lot, but I don't think it included the parking lot. The parking lot was in the original Cooper Springs dedication.
So Campbell Park is part of the Cooper Springs dedication, but where the actual pool and volleyball courts were is not.
Correct.
Okay.
So this prevents the city from ever being able to sell this property to YMCA or anything like that, some other entity.
Potentially could, but it would take a vote of the citizens to do that. So any land that's dedicated parkland has to go to the voters for disposal.
That's kind of both our feet in the fire, keeping that pool going.
It also opens up an opportunity for grants, it sounds like that.
So this is not future grant in the future, this is happening now. So there's right now a Texas Parks and Wildlife grant for a significant amount of money that can be applied for to help revitalize this area.
This is me. I make a motion to approve a resolution by the city council dedicating approximately 18.80 acres, more or less, of the John Burleson Surrey Abstract 42, commonly known as 501 East North Avenue, Hannah Springs Pool as parkland.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, so I hear what Eric is saying about it keeping us from selling it, but would, let's say, I know this is speculation, but let's say the YMCA wants to come in and we do a lease agreement with them. Would this keep us from doing something like that?
No, you just can't sell the parkland without voters approving it.
Okay.
Or it can be a partnership. It doesn't affect any interagency agreements either.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Seven point seven, consider a motion to approve the public use of Run Road for California use temporarily to allow for full utilization of the golf course.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I know you all are aware we lost the wind bridge on hole 6 with the recent floods. So therefore, we currently don't have full access to holes 6 through 9. With the recent closure of the Ritter Road, we were able to use that last week. I'm just asking for approval so that we can use the Ritter Road for not only the golfers to access holes 6 through 9, but as well as our maintenance. It's approximately 277 feet that I measured off. We've already broke off an area and move some rocks out of the way so that the carts can access that a little bit easier. We would place some signage for the eastbound and westbound traveling traffic that would say, watch for golf carts on the road, some type of signage, which we would be happy to put in place.
Are we making these signs in-house or you personally?
Probably, I'm not sure who does the signs.
Already been ordered, Carlos with our streets department has ordered them. He's just waiting for them to be finished.
So if we said no, what do you do with those signs?
You hang on to them until you see it.
Yeah. For the next one.
I move to approve the public use of Naruto Road for golf course use temporarily to allow full utilization for golf.
Second.
Any more discussion?
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion and possible action regarding the renewal of the city's health insurance coverage for city employees of Scott and White Health Plan for October 1st, 2025 to September 30th, 2026, and authorize the city manager to execute related documents.
Mayor and council, the city has received its annual renewal rates from Scott and White Health Plan for FY '26. The proposed rate based on premium to claims ratio is 9.11% higher than the current rate. Scott and White has proposed this rate as a premier option, which is the exact plan the city has at this time. There's no change to the network of doctors/hospitals included in this renewal. This rate is lower than the 11.72% increase we had for FY '24-25. The market did provide some options, however, those premiums were higher than the ones proposed by Scott and White. Staff recommends the renewal of the rates at 9.11% increase to ensure the same level of care benefits for all employees. Based on initial findings, the finance department did include an 8% increase in budgeting for this benefit, so it came in just slightly over that as we discussed earlier. At this time, staff recommends the approval of the renewal rates at a 9.11% increase.
I'm curious, why, if the rate increase last year, 24-25, was 11.72, why would we include an 8% increase in the budget? Good question.
That was not the rate that I recommended, but that is the rate that was included in the base budget.
What rate do we have in the budget for this?
So 8% is what was included in this, in FY '26's base budget. I would recommend using 12 to 15% in the future.
How long has it been with Scott and White?
For longer than I can answer that question.
It's also known as Taylor Scott and White. Is it the same company?
Yes.
And in the future, I mean, can we go out for other options, or is this the only
So
option?
we did go out for other options. Several people declined to quote. Basically, we do have a high loss ratio and have had for a couple of years. So several people declined to quote because they wouldn't have a competitive rate.
Okay.
We did receive other options, and the plans are not as good
Okay.
as what we are currently on. They don't even make our plan.
Okay.
You said high loss ratio. Is there a specific department that's coming out of?
I'm sorry?
Like a specific department that's coming out of?
If I can't say.
You can't say.
The loss ratio, you're talking about like people that are sick.
Right, claims.
Yes, so you have, I mean, it's.
No, it's true medical issues.
Like cancer inside. As far as the benefit to the employees, does the city pay the full cost of the individual coverage?
We pay full cost of individual and 50% of dependent.
Which I think is a huge benefit for the
It's
employees.
very attractive.
Very attractive.
Very attractive.
I can get on the insurance with.
Recommend approval of renewal rates at a 9.11% increase in the rest of the city manager to execute those documents.
Second.
Any discussion?
All in favor? And at this time, the city council of the city of Lampasas, Texas will meet in closed executive session pursuant to I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Discussion and possible action regarding closure of 3rd Street on August 9th, 2025 for a back-to-school bash hosted by the Courtyard Square Association.
Mayor and Council, thank you. Have a few people from the Courtyard Square Association with us, specifically Molly Leslie. I've been speaking with her for the last couple of weeks, and they've submitted a special permit application. And this is a type of closure that we do several times throughout the year for events on the square. Specifically, this would be the area from the bank down to Eaves, and we would shut off 3rd Street in the morning to prevent traffic from parking along there. And then they're going to have basically a day-long event, handing out things for free to kids, back to school, all kinds of good stuff. It's a positive event. It won't be a lot of burden on the city or the police department to do this. And again, we do several things like this throughout the years. We're glad to help with it, with y'all's blessing. Anything else y'all like to add?
It's also tax-free weekend that weekend, so school starts on August 8th, that Friday, and this is the Saturday after. And so it won't be too heavy on school supplies giveaway, but there will be some school supplies and basically just a fun event back to school for kids, you know, during a tax-free weekend. And it'll drive a lot of people with children down to the area where we have a bunch of boutiques on the square and around downtown now.
And this is hosted by the Courtyard Association?
Yes, but most the active businesses within the Courtyard Square Association, and Hester's Bookstore is going to take part in it, but the farmers market is going on at the same time, so we're not trying to drive people across 4th Street a bunch. Just it's a pretty light. And if we get the blessing to have the streets closed, then we talk to the icery and bounce houses and a couple vendors that would just have fun stuff for kids. And we'll be giving away, I guess, free popcorn and cotton candy.
I make a motion to approve the closure of the 500 block East 3rd Street from South Lavo to South Otter Street on August 9th, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the back to school event.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Now we can go to executive session. City Council of the City of Lampasas will meet and close executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code, Chapter 551 as follows. Section 551, personnel matters to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, and discipline of a public officer, employee, city manager, and other personnel matters as allowed by Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We can get a motion to adjourn the
So moved.
executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Alrighty, we'll come out of executive session and I think we might have a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city attorney to execute the contract as discussed for the position of city manager effective September 2nd.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor?